Trump lost the QAnon shaman? That's really funny. That guy was always a crank. He seems like the kind of guy who could be motivated by like Epstein and Israel-related stuff. Okay. From Valuetainment. Somebody sent this in earlier. Who's lying about Epstein? Epstein versus Mossad, explosive debate over Israeli intelligence. Is this anti-Semitic? Are you not valuetained? What I'm curious about, right? I want to see more examples of the infighting. Right? I want to find out more. Like, okay, somebody linked this earlier, but I saw a bit of this like when it came out, which was like a week ago, right? From Glenn Beck. My caller Travis represents many Trump voters who were dismissed for their concerns over transparency on Epstein. Guys, if people are calling in to Glenn Beck to cry about Trump, that is a really good sign.
We go to Travis in South Dakota. Hello, Travis.
Hi, Glenn. Hi, Jason. I tell you what, guys, I feel really betrayed, and I feel really, really angry. We have a president who tells us to move on from Epstein because it doesn't matter. Are you guys still talking about this seriously? And yet he still talks about the 2020 election fraud. He talks about the Hunter Biden laptop. He talks about all this stuff from 5-6 years ago, and he tells us to move on from the Epstein trial or the Epstein case.
Yeah, he meant literally
people
cry,
like me
I guess.
will not stop talking about this. I feel so betrayed and so angry. This is not what I voted for. If we do not stand up for the children of this country, we have nothing. We have absolutely nothing. And I tell you what, I've also lost a lot of respect for a lot of people that are prominent figures in this country because they are saying, you know what, this doesn't matter. Like Carrie Lake came out on Saturday. She's like, you know what really matters is
difficult to be sympathetic, huh? I mean, this is exactly what he voted for. I'm funneling all of this back into my new theory of like content, where like these people are like sharks in the water, right? Like as long as you keep throwing them chum, they're happy. They'll start to attack the boat if you don't. I don't really think that's how sharks work, but follow through with the example, please. Just, you know, they're stupid animals who need to be led around with a carrot on the end of a stick, and it doesn't actually, like, nothing matters. It doesn't matter what's good or bad for them. It doesn't matter if their life's going good or bad. The economy, their personal happiness, their freedom, their job attainment, none of it matters. They just have to be given a narrative. If the economy is bad, they're sad about it, but they can be fed any narrative. So in a way, their lives and opinions are completely detached from material reality, right? It's just a matter of like how effectively you can sell them on an idea. That's the key, right? When you detach your supporters' beliefs and values from reality, you are now living and dying on your ability to narrativize for them, you know? If it's not about where they live, what reality they live in, it is now entirely about what reality you're telling them they live in. And this is not a good reality for them. This is a reality where their great hunt to defeat the deep state pedophile is being stopped by Trump. It's a bad narrative. It's not a world he wants to live in. So he freaks out over it. Vosh, the great Khan analogy is best, TBH. They need bloodshed and an invasion. Otherwise they turn on each other. Yeah, no, genuinely. These people are not like us cognitively. They are stunted. Their development is faulty. It's often ruroids, but not entirely. The ruroid mind virus sometimes makes its way into the cities as well. There's a bit of ruroid in all of us, unfortunately. Chimpanzee behavior, yes, except they tend to be more cooperative than us when we've been watching too much Fox News. It's bleak stuff, you know? I don't think that anybody is innately like this. This guy, any one of them could be given like a better path to walk. They just need a better narrative. They need a more compelling narrative. And unfortunately, the problem is that they don't choose narratives based on nothing, right? They don't choose them like willy-nilly. They tend to follow narratives that are convenient to them. They go with narratives that align with pre-existing values. For a lot of them, that's racism, xenophobia, tribalism, stuff like that. So if you give them a narrative that fits well within those pre-existing beliefs, they'll run it down and they'll ignore anything that happens to them in reality, any fact, any data, you know, they'll run right past it as long as it fits, as long as it's the path of least resistance. All we need is a storytime YouTuber to win the election. I mean, genuinely, if the Democrats were better at doing politics, I don't think they'd be struggling the way they are right now. I think that, like, for the most part, the success of fascists in taking complete control of the narrative for these people kind of relies on a weak democratic establishment. Like, for instance, in Germany, the Weimar Republic sucked, right? The Social Democrats were out of touch. They didn't do a good job of communicating their intentions. They didn't do a good job of leading the people or giving a compelling narrative. They were not good at leading. In Italy, God, the monarchy and the like aristocracy of Italy when Mussolini took over, totally out of touch. Just weak, ineffectual, nobody related to them, right? That's the reason why Mussolini came to power, right? He did those balcony speeches. He was able to communicate with the people in the way that the previous leadership weren't. I really don't think fascists can succeed when society is going well. I think that you need society to be going poorly. You need the establishment, the political system. You need it to be worthless. It's completely unrelatable, out of touch for stuff like this to succeed. Do you think all the protect kids from trans people types are now turning against Trump? No, because they don't. People who say protect kids from trans people don't care about kids, except in the way they shouldn't. They hate trans people. It's not really, like, again, it has nothing to do with material reality. It's about the narrative.
Election fraud and post-election fraud. It's like, you know what? The children of this country really, really matter. How can we just sweep them under the rug and not care? Move on, America.
Skynet, I don't know what you're talking about.
Travis, thank you for calling. Let me ask you, is there anything that could be said that would make you go, okay, that's as good as it's going to get for here?
I want transparency and I want justice. All them children, all those families, everything they went through, I don't want to know their names. I pray that God would be with them and give them some sort of peace if they could ever get it. I want transparency and I want justice.
Is there anything
There's another point that I want to make here, which is that just because these people are stupid orcs doesn't mean that they're insincere. Insincerity is almost exclusively the realm of the politician and the content creator. People in the White House, people in Congress, they lie as easily as they breathe. It's their job to. You will never convince somebody like Matt Walsh of anything because they don't believe what they say. They believe in making money, right? But to the people who follow, these people are sincere. They might engage in performative anti-intellectualism, but they're only doing so because it's been normalized to them. They don't understand what they're doing. Or to put it another way, if there is a MAGA guy who is being performatively anti-intellectual and anti-empiricist about something like, say, climate change, for example, they're not doing that because they're aware of the fact that they're lying and they don't care. They're doing that because they don't know how much they should believe in the concept of something being empirically correct. Does that make sense? There's a difference between consciously lying because you don't care and not having respect for what truth looks like because you've been submerged in this environment for so long. You get me? It's very, very, very important to distinguish between these two things because while I think talking to any kind of right-leaning content creator is a waste of time because all of them, except for the truly crazy ones, like What If Alt History, they all know they're lying, right? The regular day-to-day Republicans, it's a different kind of battle. They don't understand truth. They don't know it when they see it. They don't trust anything that disagrees with their narrative. So even when things seem to be empirically true, they would rather disbelieve reality itself than the narrative because, again, it's all about the narrative. You're not going to find a Trump supporter who, you can't show them factual information. They'll go, oh, let me reevaluate my priors. The priors are all they have. But that's not exactly the same as lying. Right? There's no malice in it, or at least there's no willful malice in it. This stuff matters, man. I think it's important to know the difference. It must be crazy to live like that. Yeah, but a lot of you probably have relatives or coworkers who live like that, don't you? People who believe in things so strongly that contradicting evidence just gets filed in their head as an attack on them personally. People who have strong emotional convictions. Sometimes that come across as really sincere, but oftentimes come across as cruel and performative. Like they have to always like demonstrate to themselves how sincere their conviction is. They can't engage critically with the things they believe in because that would mean self-questioning.
That anyone could produce to show you and have you go, okay, Epstein is dead. Gladwell is in prison, and that's the only justice you're going to be able to get.
I want evidence. Quit telling us that, oh, well, he killed himself and we saw everything. We have the information. By the way, it doesn't exist. Show us the information. Make me believe. Help me believe that he killed himself. Help me believe that maybe you don't have any evidence against people. Then show us that stuff. I do not trust the government at all, and yet they expect me to take their word for it. I'm sorry, you lost your credibility a long time ago, government. You need to start gaining the trust of these American people back. And I really hope and pray that they can at least provide some sort of evidence.
How do you prove the negative, Travis? See, that's where I'm at. I think I'm right where you are. I don't.
Glenn Beck obviously is completely insincere and cares only about continuing to eke in like podcast and radio money. Like it's not so obviously like him. He's walking a tightrope right now because on one hand, if he commits to the like Epstein conspiracism, that aligns him against the Trump supporters. Who are diehard Trump, but he also can't drop the Epstein stuff entirely because then he would lose another demographic of people. So his only job right now is to not commit to any positions, ask questions, and try to remain sympathetic to both sides of a very real developing schism, you know?
I'm beyond... I don't have a horse in this race. What I have is common sense. And what
I don't have a horse in the should the global mega pedophile financier and all of his connections be unearthed in the way that the Trump administration said they would do. Yeah, of course. Again, like he has to ride the line.
I have is maybe a bunch of people hyping this up for a very long time, but then I need somebody to say, hey, these people were hyping this for this reason, and here, let me show you how that was done. I want to believe. I want to believe in the good. So help.
It's the most wavering and uncertain Glenn Beck has ever sounded about anything. Have you know the way Glenn Beck typically talks, right? He's like, I can't come down on either side of this one, man. It would slightly cut into my profits.
But I don't know how you prove a negative. How do you prove there is no evidence?
I absolutely agree. If all these people like me are all upset about this Epstein client list.
By the way, keep in mind that this came out. This was released by Glenn Beck on July 14th, where again, he takes no stand, no position at all. He's just like profiting from the attention, right? But since then, since this came out, it has been confirmed by the DOJ that there is, in fact, Epstein files. Like, there's a lot of curiosity as to what actually exists. Some people say the list doesn't exist because the list in their mind is like Epstein recording every client that he's had, and maybe that doesn't exist. But there is definitely a lot of incriminating evidence contained in the files. The semantic difference between the list and the files is kind of But at the very least, the fact that, I mean, we know for a fact the files are real. We know for a fact that Trump is in them. This is all confirmed. So, yeah, this is not going away.
And it's all been for naught all these years. Then help me believe that, you know what, you've been wrong this entire time. And actually, there's some really good things out there. And if it's the opposite, show us that evidence, too. Right now, all we have to go on is the word and trust of the United States government. And they don't tell us anything. So this is what we found, in the documents we're going to give you are going to be, mostly redacted. But the information's there. We just can't show it to you. You got to help us out a little bit. There's a lot of good in this country, but you got to help us out a little bit.
Travis, I don't think anyone could have said it better than that. Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's the most non-committal he's ever sounded in his entire life. Honestly, it must have been relaxing, It must have been nice to get to take a break. We need to do everything we can to foster this infighting. Again, like, this isn't even really cynical, all right? I want the Epstein files released. I want it known who was associated with the pedophile financier. You guys want it too. The establishment Democrats don't want it. Maybe they're playing politics with it, but the desire to see these people brought to justice is sincere. It is literally the deep state. It's real. Yes, I want Bill Clinton in jail. Absolutely. I hate that guy. If this is what the people who need a Kagan need, fine. I've never thought that every single Republican in this country is morally unsalvageable. I've thought they're morons. and that politically they represent a mass of people who want us dead. They are an obstacle. They are we'll say civilly, unsympathetic bunch. But it's not innate. Things can change. If this is a wake-up call for some of them, even a single percentage point of them, it would be enough. Please stop with the Central Asian joke. It's kind of racist. Quit whining. Also, that's literally what Genghis Khan did. There were a bunch of tribes, a bunch of them fighting all across the steppe, and he had the biggest horse or something. So he ran around and united them. And then as soon as he died, everyone started fighting again. That's literally what happened. Yeah, you do not under any circumstances have to give credit to the Golden Horde. They did in fact kill a lot of people. The Golden Horde wasn't Genghis? Oh, I'm not a historian. Still a cool name though. Hey, stop with the essay posting. I don't read all that. Quality, not quantity. You don't have to give me the first paragraph of the article. I'm just going to get White to reduce the amount of text you can put into a... No, I mean it. I'm going to bring that shit down to 240. What is it right now? I don't know. You know, it's frustrating for me too that I am... And listen, I'm not an academic at all, okay? But I spent the first few years of my live stream career trying to educate myself on the understanding that the particulars and nuances of a wide range of policies and the debates over them would make the difference between a bad point and a compelling point. And right now, it seems like the most decisive fracture in this nearly decade-long MAGA movement is people realizing after 20 years that the guy who is obviously a friend of Epstein is in fact a friend of Epstein. It's just very frustrating, okay? It's very, very frustrating. It's like an engineer honing their talent for years and for decades, and they get called on the jobs. And the reason, every single time, the reason they come over, it's because a homeowner has knocked down a load-bearing wall and is asking why there are cracks in their ceiling. Like, eventually, you're like, I studied for this, you know? Yeah, toilet's clogged. What is this? Trump supporting redneck with 600K subs who Trump broke cope cast with tears in his eye. Don't narrativize. Just tell me what the thing is. What is this? Trump went too far attacking patriots. Dog, Trump has made fun of veterans like 500 times on camera.
Know who nuked 75% of their own supporters with one post? Donald J. Trump, the same man who once said he'd expose Epstein files. He's now calling it a hoax. And he's calling you, the ones who's asking questions, Democrat operatives and past supporters.
I can't tell you how much seeing stuff like this makes me happy. Listen, man, it's not insincere. Maybe you still want like a white ethno state or whatever, but if you and I both agree that it's pretty fucked up that Donald Trump is blocking the release of the Epstein files and doing everything in his power to, like, they shut down Congress over this. If you and I both agree on that, then, you know, we can conditional unity on this subject, right? Maybe?
You know what I call that? A man who's either lost the script or was never the one writing it to begin with.
I'll always cheer for fascist infighting, but it's not just fascist infighting, right? Like, it's a legitimate schism over whether or not the MAGA movement is willing to completely accept the protection of Epstein and his clients by the deep state. Like, this is an issue that, like, for me, when I think of fascist infighting, what I think of is like white fascists calling brown fascists the N-word and brown fascists calling white fascists Jews or something, or whatever. You know, that's what, it's all them. It's all over there. You know, I'm just laughing. This is a real issue.
I know it's hard to say. It's hard to hear. It's hard to even imagine. It's like we're living in an alternate reality right now. Now, let me be...
No, this is all like pretty predictable, my man. I wish I could talk to these guys. You know, I wish I could be like, did you really... I want to know like what... Like, sit down, okay? I want to know. Like, did you really think he wasn't friends with Epstein? You really didn't believe that in your heart of hearts. You actually thought he was like a anti-deep state warrior when everything he's done, his entire life before and after the presidency, has been like New York City financier, real estate mogul bullshit where he prioritizes helping friends and the wealthy. You really thought this guy... Did you see the non-compete video about this being a loyalty test for MAGA, the same way cult leaders test their followers? I agree with the assessment there. Yeah, I think so. Unfortunately for them, though, normally when a loyalty test is put forward by a cult leader or by like an abusive partner or something like that, the terms are explicit, right? Like normally you because the it's a test of loyalty. So you have to say, like, this is my line, you know? But in this case, Trump and Trump's administration, right? They can't say, I'm planting my feet in the ground. You will forget all of this. It's not a real thing. It's not a big deal. They can allude to it. They can gesture at it, but it's all this like hemming and hawing. Oh, I think Epstein was bad and the files were bad, but I don't want to release it because it has sensitive, compromising information to victims. Stuff like that, you know, which really weakens things from their perspective because it means they can't even be honest and straightforward about the stuff they're demanding loyalty over.
Absolutely crystal clear. This isn't 4D chess. This ain't trust the plan. This was Trump basically saying, shut up about Epstein. I'm done. And you're the problem now. You're no better than the Democrat operatives. And this comes after years of Don Jr., Charlie Kirk, and every other paid influencer screaming, where's Epstein client list? My father's on the client list. My father's getting indicted, but he's on the client list. Now suddenly it's, oh, let's not talk about that anymore. It's a hoax. Charlie Kirk just said on his show that he's done talking about it. Now, this is the same Charlie who once was frothing at the mouth to see the names being released, right? Listen for yourself.
I'm done.
It does hearten me a little bit to see sincerity, like in an environment where basically every single person whose job it is to be right-wing publicly is performatively insincere. It is nice to see, as stupid as it gets, like that there is still a capacity for earnest, sincere upsettedness at something like this.
I'm talking about Epstein for the time being. I'm going to trust my friends in the administration. I'm going to trust my friends in the government to do what needs to be done, solve it, balls in their hands. I've said plenty this last weekend. So if you guys want to see my commentary on it, that's fine.
So you have to ask yourself, man, why the sudden switch? Because they were never allowed to go past the guardrails. They're all on a leash. You don't believe me?
Mate, they're not on a leash. They're holding the leash. It's the president of the United States of America and his cabinet. He controls all three branches of the federal government. He's the machine. He's a New York City financier mogul friend of Epstein billionaire who bought his way into two presidents. Well, actually, his first win was mostly free media attention. The second one, you know, he had wealthy friends buy him in. There's no leash on Trump. Nobody can control him. Nobody can tell him what to do. He's too senile. He wouldn't even remember the instructions.
There's Charlie Kirk right there. What's he got that hat on for?
Oh, all right. Now I see where the criticism is coming from. That's what I get for getting all misty-eyed about sincerity. I mean, it's still sincere. It's just, is there any possibility that this is being motivated by like a non-anti-Semitic opposition to Israel's influence over the United States? Because it's possible to be genuinely like perturbed by the obvious fealty the U.S. government and everyone in it has to like show Israel without necessarily being anti-Semitic. Let him talk. Let him talk for a second, okay?
He's not Jewish because it's part of the ritual. Epstein wasn't just a monster. He was a firewall for the elite. And you see Charlie Kirk here is using Genesis to show why he's backing. I wonder if he uses Leviticus. I can tell by looking at him he doesn't because he's got a clean-shaven face. So why is he using Genesis but not Leviticus? Jesus Christ came.
All right. Trust in no one but God. That's the lesson here, brothers. Charlie Kirk didn't hear the stupid thing he just said. I'll trust my friends in the government. I'm here with you, brother. I'm here for truth in God. And if Trump isn't on God's side, then Trump is no longer on our side. I grew up around people like this. Yeah, a lot of Americans have, unfortunately.
Made the new covenant. That's where these boys like him forget. And it also is starting to like Trump's protecting the firewall. At the inauguration dinner, my good friends Bill and Hillary Clinton, they stand up and give him a round of applause. And then I was like, okay, that
could make a lot of like cheap shots at this guy's intelligence. What do you want to bet he lives in the northern panhandle of Idaho? Good Lord. How to think like a guerrilla fighter, urban and rural survival tactics. Decent chance this guy has a bunker within 50 miles of me. Obama's a distraction. They're all panicking. Well, that's true, actually. Search Israel on his channel. The real puppeteers still run everything.
And what the hell? Israeli intelligence.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh no. What the hell? I think this guy might, well, he hasn't said anything about Jews yet. Yeah, and for a while, Nick Fuentes never explicitly said Jews. Yeah, you don't need to tell me. You know I have a finely tuned dog whistle sensor. It does make me wonder how aware he is of what he's doing, but nah, well, infighting's infighting, I suppose. Yeesh. It's absolutely implied. You don't need to tell me. You learned it from me. Don't you, what's the thing he always says? Don't you cite the old words in me, which I was there when they were written. I was there when dog whistling was invented in 2019. I will bend my knees to Christ. Jesus Christ. Religious nuttos, man. Oh, anyway, wait, hold on. The Twitter clip, I almost forgot.
If you, for some of you buy it and put it on eBay, if you can keep going lower and lower and lower, you'll see all this stuff.
This is it? This is the, wait, no, what the fuck? Skynet, you're like dropping limes everywhere, man. 36, not 39. You're like, there's spaghetti spilling out of your pockets.
Yeah, but respectfully, the way your brain processes things
but we want
is a little bit different.
We want to move. I know we want to move on, but
yeah.
here's my question though: if there was no X, would you even know about Mossad being Epstein tied to Mossad? Because on YouTube,
I'm pretty sure that's been well known for a long time. I really don't think Twitter. I don't think that information propagated exclusively through Twitter. I mean, I guess a lot of Epstein-related stuff is propagated through Twitter.
YouTube and all these other places, they will ban your ass.
That information was.
No, they won't. It's anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. They will not ban your ass for saying that Epstein had ties to Israel. It's extremely common knowledge.
Out there
no, but I'm saying nobody would be talking about. But what I'm saying is, if you talked about this or talked about COVID or talked about anything,
it's been around for a while, bro.
Okay, yeah.
From the 80s, 90s.
Yeah, but see, I never knew about. I never knew.
Well, bro, what
are
I'm
you
saying,
better for it or not? I don't
think
know.
no.
I want to know the truth.
I am all thinking X is a net positive for sure.
No, I'm
just
saying
telling
Vinny's digesting on X. Is he
all
better
I'm
for it?
saying to you is, if you're around it, it's gonna rub off on you so much that it can lower your calibration to anger, fear, all of that stuff, and you want to be able to go in, get all the shit, and take a big shower and go up to reason and say, all right, man, here's where I'm going to. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go upstairs and go and got.
Let's not beat around the bush here. Earlier, you said one thing. I want to know if you stand by this. Do you think Vinny, even if it's 1%, has been brainwashed by what he's consumed on X?
Yes.
What am I watching? What is this? What am I looking at? Is this even what you wanted to? Is it the same as this?
that he's doing it for him to go. Don't worry about the blackmail sex trafficking thing. Just shut up about it, because I've done so good for you. That's like having a dad, Adam, that buys you the bike, gives you the ice cream, does everything for you. But guess what, Adam? He's sleeping with underage kids in the neighborhood. But who cares? He gave you the bike. He gave you the house. He has a roof
Is that who Trump is to you, a dad? It's all so psychosexual to these people, man.
over your head. I'm uncomfortable with that, Adam, and that's why I know it drives you crazy. 1,200% of the internet.
Crazy
no,
here,
1,200% of the internet
1,200%?
wants to know the truth. And guess what? Nobody believes him.
Okay.
And nobody believes, Adam, that Mossad didn't have anything to do with it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So let me just.
Is that guy? Show that picture, Rob. That's me, Adam. Oh my God. Adam, somebody asking questions and connecting dots. That's who you think I am.
If you're wrong, that may
no one knows how percentages work anymore. Well, that guy doesn't seem terribly bright. I don't understand why the Mossad connections are such a big deal. American and Israeli intelligence and finances have been tied heavily for decades. Epstein was a financier with a lot of thumbs and a lot of pies, heavily tied to American finance, obviously, heavily tied to Israeli finance and intelligence, obviously. He had associations with Mossad. He absolutely had associations with the FBI and CIA. It's just, I just don't think it's that like conspiratorial. No shit. Powerful financier, power broker. It's his job to know as many people as possible, to get them in, to blackmail them. Yeah, it ties to the royal family. How cool is it that MAGA accidentally flipped in Israel, though? No, but they're flipping on it for the wrong reason. They think they think that Mossad like controlled Epstein, or that Epstein was like an Israeli agent, which those aren't true. It's all a big money pot that they've all been swimming in. The British royal family, the Saudis, Israel, America. It's all just a big stew. Capital is international, and therefore any financier worth their salt is going to be influential with many people. I do, like, people have to be sensible with their support here. You can't listen, are there conspiracies involving Israel? Yes, okay. Israel, like right now, apparently, according to the DOJ, criticizing Israel can get your green card revoked. Okay, like there's obviously a lot to talk about there, but it's not control over the country. It's just them being used as an excuse. It's cooperative management.
May very well be you.
Prove me wrong.
Well,
there's no proof.
All right, so then,
Where's the proof?
Okay, so then we'll go around in circles.
Go
here.
ahead.
So let me just unpack this. Mossad is at the top of the list. There's nobody bigger on this particular thing.
Meaning he was working
they're
for
running
them.
the show.
Oh, yeah.
He was not working for them. At least there's no evidence to suggest that. And Mossad is not at the top of any list. They're just an intelligence agency. Mossad is nothing in terms of like influence. Mossad is nothing compared to like the CIA. It's just an intelligence agency. Every country has one or multiple.
Yeah.
So not CIA, not FBI,
That's the main.
So Mossad's
that's the
number
main,
one.
The guy's name is Jeffrey Epstein. Ehud Barak and all these guys were visiting his apartment. There's photos covering their faces leaving his house.
So
yeah.
because he's Jewish, obviously Mossad.
Hold on, because you want to go there, Adam. As of late, has Donald Trump, who was beefing with Bibi, because Bibi and them had Mike Waltz in a cabinet meeting texting Israel, trying to get us into a war with Iran. Trump was like, no.
Texting Israel.
He was like, hell no, went to the Middle East, didn't even visit him. And then all of a sudden, Adam, I'm going to go to war, I'm going to bomb, and Epstein is all bullshit.
So
weird, Adam. Isn't that weird?
I'm going to ask some questions before.
Yeah.
So Mossad's at the top of the list.
Yeah.
Bibi Netanyahu's controlling Trump. And Israel is dictating policy America.
Hold on.
Is that what's going on?
So you don't think AIPAC in our freaking
AIPAC is what?
This is why you got to be careful, man. Look, and this guy on the right, I'm not as familiar with his content as some of you more cultured people might be. I'm going to assume he's not exactly firing on all cylinders. It's not a performance, like he's authentically not firing on all cylinders. If you're not careful with your engagement with these ideas, you know, it all just turns into the same low IQ conspiracy bait bullshit where, well, oh, it must be that Israel controls everything. Well, then why the are they so unhappy all the time? No, seriously. If Israel, the Jews control everything, then why do so many people hate them? Why does like 90% of the world hate Israel? Why are there so many like virulent anti-Semites in powerful positions in media? Like, wait, like, come on. None of this shapes up that way. It's just another arm of the American military-industrial complex that metastasized and grew tumors. You have what is essentially like a military and financial venture for the United States that has been complicated substantially by post-World War II Jewish-American relations and like Zionism as an ideology metastasizing and developing intentions beyond just being a puppet of American financial influence.
Well, okay.
Adam,
so
it's not hard to put this together.
Obviously, it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
So Israel controls America.
Israel has very, very strong influence over our policy.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry that it hurts.
Cool. We get it. We found out.
Oh, but hold on, Adam.
Right.
Does that make me anti-Semitic?
No, it makes you.
Does that make me hate
Vinny,
Jewish people?
You haven't said one thing that might not be true.
Okay.
You're probably 100% true. But just in case you're not, let's say you're absolutely right. You did it. You, Vinny Oshana, cracked the code. If I can see that picture one more time.
Yeah.
You cracked the code. You did it. You did it. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Mossad, Epstein, Trump, he's owned.
Yeah.
Now what?
What do you mean?
What do you want to do now? You
I can't imagine listening to these people. I'm pretty sure the evidence suggests 80% of Americans get their news more or less through this format. This is basically how they all get everything they know.
Crack the code.
Now what? Everybody that was involved, Adam, goes to fucking jail.
Okay.
There's a trial and you go to jail.
Okay.
Look how easy that is. And Adam, you know why I can be critical as well? How much American dollars goes to Israel every year? Anybody want to guess?
$3 billion.
So you know what that means? I can have any opinion I want because my money is invested in that group.
Well, there's a lot of countries that
I don't care. Then I can talk about all of them.
That's the only. So let's talk about every other country.
Jail.
So Israel's the only country that receives money?
No. Go back to your point.
Okay.
What do I want, Adam? I want jail.
Okay.
And if God forbid the president of the United States was involved with it, guess what? Same for him.
Which president?
Our president.
Okay.
If he was
so you
involved,
want Trump to go to jail now?
If he was with underage girls, 1,000%.
So if Trump was with a 17-year-old girl,
I'll say it again. When he
this pedophile, this dude, the ephebophile posturing, man. So you're really telling me that if Trump just slept with a 17, incredible stuff, truly. He's definitely more like financially conscious, right? Like he's aware of the fact that straddling the line is better for long-term profits. Yeah, I can't do any more of this. No, you skipped over the good stuff. There was no good stuff there, Skynet Zero. Also, if you wanted me to see that, you shouldn't pitch me several minutes before the good stuff. How much of that do you think I can tolerate? Frankly, the fact that you can tolerate enough of it, to have seen enough of it, to know what the good stuff is concerning to me. You know, of all of that, I think that the most compelling information, I guess, or the most interesting little bit we got, because it was completely sincere, was from the Glenn Beck call-in. That was the good stuff right there. That was a real person. Bro was crying. Yeah, but you know what? At least that means he actually doesn't like pedophilia. No, fuck it. Listen, okay? I'm not going to shame him for that. It's crazy that he's in a cult, but like the majority of the Trump supporters are just going to like tank this and rewrite reality to fit their comfort. If he has a sincere enough belief that Epstein is bad, that he's like actually emotional about it, you know? Okay.